June 12th, 2009, were the time of the year in the United States where television stations across the country were required to convert their broadcast stations from analog to digital. This process had to be done with some countries earlier than 2009, starting in 1996 in the Netherlands. This progressive digital television transition was eventually completed in the United States after June 12th, 2009, while some analog stations were made until 26th of the same year. However, when television stations in America announced their process of switching to digital, an unknown group of hijackers took over the few stations in a few cities in the country during the final minutes of the following known stations that were targeted by these hijackers. When viewers were tuning in to see the stations cease their analog transmissions, they were suddenly greeted with unnerving visuals that were followed by unnerving background audio. This left many people panicked and scared after witnessing these intrusions, due to the hijackings only taking place in small parts of the cities where the targeted stations and broadcasted, and because these stations failed to give out a proper explanation to these occurrences, this led to the incident falling into obscurity for a few years. A handful of recordings of these hijackings do exist. However, they have never managed to see the light of day until recently. It is unknown of how many stations were targeted by these unknown individuals during that day, but as of today, 4 different recordings of the following hijackings were resurfaced. These were the following recordings. Recording number 1, WFTV 9, Orlando, Florida, June 12, 2009. Following the airing of a Walmart commercial, WFTV resumed their regular schedule to digital televisions for the analog to digital transmission. The screen stays on the WFTV logo, with a voiceover explaining that they are transitioning to digital television until the signal cuts to static. For a few seconds of static, different visuals appeared, which showed an image of a piece of paper with a drawing of a sad face, accompanied by the word nothingness, taped onto a wood wall. After a few seconds of silence, a humming sound begins to play in the background. It stays like that for a few seconds until the signal cuts out. Returning to the original signal, it was on before continuing to its final seconds of the analog to digital conversion until the transmission ceases. Recording 2, KYW-TV CBS, Philadelphia, June 12, 2009. Following the airing of an Ericsson retirement commercial, the station cuts to an original W3XE test pattern, with the voiceover announcing their switch to digital. When a still from a Zappos commercial appears, the signal gets interrupted by static. After 4 seconds of static, a different transmission appears which shows a low-quality, black and white photo of a person making an impossibly wide-open smile on its face, with his eyes being nothing but pitch black and total darkness, accompanied by the words, "Don't be scared." Right next to the figure, crunchy, distorted static can be heard while the visuals stay the same until the transmission ceases into KYW-TV analog transmission. The pattern was displayed on the screen for 1 second after an intrusion until the image cut to a CBS logo with the text "Goodbye" below before the transmission ceased. Recording 3, WTVJ 6, Miami, Florida, June 26, 2009. As Bob Mayer gives out his brief history about WTVJ6 and then announces that they will be switching to digital in a few minutes, the signal briefly cuts to static where another transmission was made. It showed low-quality black and white footage of an unknown person staring directly at the camera while grinning to which a muffled and distorted voiceover says the following.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You may see agent.
The figure then stumbles down off the screen, which then fades into a black and white footage of an American flag waving as distorted sounding of the national anthem plays in the background. And then it cuts to the WTVJ transmission and continues on like that nothing ever happened. After the incidents, the stations that were targeted by those hijackers never gave out an explanation to these eerie transmissions. The perpetrators of this incident were never identified nor caught, which leaves us questioning if this was a twisted prank or something else.